Hey everyone, how's it going? So tonight we are putting the new Behringer P24 mixer and the hub to the test tonight. So before we get Zach and Greg in here to play some guitar and drums respectively, let me go over the very basics of getting this set up. So when Behringer sent me this, I thought, hey, let's try it at the venue, and there's just too many extra cables that need to happen in order to get this system working at a venue. So I think what's best for use for this product, for me at least, is if I am a member of a worship band and I am a member of a church and I just want these to be set up for my band and it's going to be in a stationary location. That's what I think is best for this, because most bands traveling have something like this already. They have their own stage box and they have something connecting all of their in-ear systems. So most traveling bands have an in-ear system already. So it doesn't make sense for me to train musicians of how to use this. But there is a second very good viable option for this. Most recording studios have what's called an Aviom system. Basically, it works very similar to this, where the engineer in the studio routes the signals to Aviom receivers, and the musicians in the studio get to play with the faders and get their own independent headphone mix. So I think for that instance, this is going to be perfect. So we're going to have a makeshift rough demo recording session set up. This is how I would route it if I was tracking a band, and I want to thank my like-minded creators, partners, Zach and Greg, for volunteering to help review this product, because ultimately it's up to them to tell me what they think of this product. So with that being said, let me go over the inputs and how to get this thing routed. So we have 5 inputs that we are working with tonight. So input 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are kick drum, snare, 2 overheads, and guitar. Very, very simple. And we are going to have 2 outputs. 1 is going to go to Zach right here, and 2 is going to go to Greg. So when you have this set up, you want the outputs from the P24 hub to go to the input of the P24 mixer right here where it says slave, so that this is receiving signal from this. And Behringer says that even though a regular XLR cable will do the job just fine, which is what we have right here, these are not DMX cables. Behringer recommends that we get DMX cables, especially if it's over like 10, 15, 20 feet or whatever. But these are very short XLR cables, so they are doing the job just fine. So one thing that I'm doing that I'm not seeing a lot of people who are reviewing this doing is I am daisy chaining off of the stage box to the P24, so that the only cable going to the Wing Compact is the one AES cable from the stage box to the console. So there's only one cable that I have to worry about as far as inputs and outputs go. So in theory, what's happening right now is all of my inputs for the studio are being routed to the S32 stage box, and that is routed to a cable to the Wing Compact, the AES cable right there. That is being fed back into the stage box, which is then being fed to the P24 hub, which is being fed to the mixers. Now that we got the theory of the routing set up, let me actually show you how to actually get it going. All right, so pardon me for using my phone as a makeshift light here, but you can see in the back of the P24 hub, that is plugged into AES-A, and that short cable is going to AES-B out of the stage box. AES-A is going to the Wing Compact. So the left cable is going to the console. AES-50B is going to AES-A on the P24 hub. So now, with that being said, here's what it looks like on the console itself. So I initialize the console, blank session, so clean slate. I have kick, snare, overhead, left, right, and guitar. So to set this up, we select the channel, we go to the input chart, and we select the source that we want. I select AES-50A, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in corresponding to my 5 inputs. And then to get this sent to the P24, we go to routing, we go to outputs, and because we are connecting it via a stage box, we have to select on the P24 hub, and I'll show you that in a second. We can only select inputs 33 through 48. And as you can see right here, it's daisy chained from the stage box to the P24 hub. So channel 1, aka fader 1, is going to be the kick, snare, overhead left, overhead right, guitar, respectively. So that on the mixer right here, we have channels 1 through 5. These faders are going to go to the independent output of the P24 mixer to Zach and Greg respectively. And again, one final reminder, guys, if you are daisy chaining a S32 stage box or any stage box to the P24, you got to make sure that you select the input as AS50A outputs 33 through 48. Just remember that, because if you select 25 through 48, it's not going to work right. Because the way that this was explained to me by Behringer, the stage box takes outputs 25 through 32. So just select AS50A 33 to 48 and you should be good to go. With that being said, let's get Zach and Greg on here and see what they think of the P24. Well, you guys as musicians, like what you said, basically to me, it's like, yeah, they're going to demo it, but they don't really need it. Well, I think, see, this is what the talk that I had with Behringer. And Zach, let me pick your brain for a second on this. Like, if you guys are playing a venue as a band, like, you most of the time have your in-ears already set up, and you either that or you ask the sound guy to just put whatever you need in the monitors. Yeah. Right? That's most venues. I don't think we've ever been to a venue where they would have something like this set up.
This could be good for, what could it be good for, right?
Well, so for bands on a bigger level, it's like controlling your own stage sound, you know? Like, so that everybody has, like, imagine vocals. You hear your vocals, and then...
Someone's got the hiccups tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, really bad.
Really bad case of the hiccups.
Won't go away, I don't know. Anyways.
You'll kill yourself.
But hearing your vocals will absolutely help the singer stay on pitch more, and just overall help the performance. There's a lot of situations when you're on stage, you don't really hear, you know, what your source is, you know, is doing.
That's like Red Hymns. Like that's what we did. This was like the equivalent to that, isn't it?
I guess.
Where we would bring our own shit and then we plug in.
That could be an alternative, but most bands already have like a rack mixer set up. They don't have a compact stationary mixer. They have like an X32 rack or a wing rack, and they route the outputs through their wireless in-ear receivers. Because I think you guys would agree that one downside about this product in particular is it needs its own power cable. It needs an XLR or DMX out from that, so that's more cables on the stage. Mm-hmm. So if you want, like, it's more stuff to set up, and you guys already have racks similar to this with your inputs already, your in-ears routed already. Mm-hmm. So what I think and what we're testing tonight is in a recording environment. So like if you guys wanted to, let's say if hypothetically, if Zach were to load up Pro Tools right now and he would have the click track routed through that, this would be like an Aviom system in a traditional recording studio. So this is what I think is the best, like for my personal use, this is what I would probably use this for.
And that's what we should.
And this is what we're going to talk about and see what it's like as a in-studio headphone mixer, essentially. Yeah. So now you guys can get on here, and channel 1 is kick, 2 is snare, 3 and 4 are overheads, and 5 is your guitar. Perfect. So now that everything's routed, all you got to do is turn up the master volume how much you want, and then just adjust the fader. All right, so one cool thing about this mixer that I really like is, I don't know if you guys can see these little, what look like hole punches right here. These are built-in TalkBack microphones, as you can see from the TalkBack lighting up here. So you can route this, so if you put this up, that will go back to the hub, which would go to, assumingly, the engineer, aka me, running the recording session. Or you can talk to other musicians in the studio. So if this were a much bigger and vast live room, and the musicians were on the other corners of the room, you can, in theory, pod this up, talk to the other musicians, and be able to hear yourself talking to the other musicians in between takes. And what's cool is if you wanted to connect a foot switch to control the TalkBack, you can right here and use your own microphone. That's really cool. So on each channel, you can change the tone, you could change the effects send on or off, and you could turn up the volume send to the main, and you could put reverb on it as well. So that's really cool. Like if you were tracking vocals and the vocalist just wanted to hear reverb, you could put some reverb on that channel and you can hear yourself with a little reverb so you sing a little bit better and get the performance. So it's just really cool that this thing exists because an Aviom system is insanely expensive. What we're gonna do right now is get Zach and Greg in here so that they can adjust their own settings. Once I set the initial input gain on the console, that will correspond to all of this down here, and the band can adjust their own headphones and get their mix dialed in instead of just simply saying, hey, I need more of him in my monitor, I need more of this, I need more of that. So this will be pretty cool. All right, so Zach, give me your input of the guitar. All right, and now when you play, you should be coming up on channel 5 right here.
Oh yeah, I hear it.
And then your master volume is right here.
Oh wow, it's really nice and clear. Very nice. Oh my god, it's like very instantaneous too.
Nice.
Yeah. Low latency is always good.
Oh yeah.
For these things.
That's a big plus. What do you want to fucking do with that shit? What the fuck?
Okay, so Greg, on the top right of the mixer where it says output volume, that's your master volume.
Okay.
And now his guitar is on fader 5.
What's mic'd on here? 1, 2, 3, and 4?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, okay, Greg, let me get your kick drum real quick. So I need to set the initial gain and then it should be sent to you. So give me your kick drum, please. Give me your snare. All right, so now I got the initial gain input from the kick, snare, overheads, and the guitar. So now channel 1 on fader 1 in order, for channels 1 through 5 on the mixer right there is kick, snare, overhead left, overhead right, guitar.
Yep.
So now what you can do is turn the output volume at like 1 o'clock to get a good amount of volume coming out of that. And now just adjust the faders, individual faders, to your liking so that you can hear your own custom headphone mix.
I don't hear any. It's not even.
This kick is really quiet.
There's nothing reading here. Oh, I gotta really put it up there.
So I can get a little more gain out of the kick drum. So let's adjust the gain on the kick drum. So that should be good and plenty.
Yeah.
And now your overheads are channels 3 and 4.
Cool.
And now you should be able to adjust and to your liking. Can you hear Zach's guitar okay? Perfect.
Really well, no latency at all.
Yeah. Let's try it. Nice. See, that's a cool section. To
The tone of your guitar is a little raunchy.
yeah. Do you have it very loud?
What channel are you on?
5. This guitar is 5.
Oh, it's a lot of static.
So let's try that section again. The reason I say this section is good because the monitoring of the kick is to be able to hear the monitor on the kick.
Yeah.
It's like a very...
So also what you guys are hearing right now is the raw signal. If I adjust the EQ, I can send you an EQ'd edit of the tone, or I could send it to you raw, which in the studio, I think I would prefer to send you the raw signal than an EQ.
Yep.
So I can customize it on here, what you guys would listen to.
I was going to say, why don't we try like something... well, that's cool, because like now we're playing something basic. Not basic, but like with more space to it. Where it really kind of, you know, shows the characteristics of how you can blend these together. You know, get a little more guitar, but it's really dialed in like exactly how I'd need to hear it. You know, it sounds really.
And you're not hearing any latency issues or like static or whatever.
So in this case, I had my guitar really low. We tried something technical, and I found myself questioning where I was on the fretboard. So now we can adjust it a little bit and try something a little more technical. See if we can lock in on it. Get our levels right here. And then turn the kick down a little bit. Let's try it again. Damn.
That sounded considerably tighter.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing with that, like, you know, hearing the signal is such a, it's so reinforcing to the player because, one, it just adds this extra level of confidence. Like, I haven't played rhythms to that song in months. And just the fact that I can hear myself so clearly gives me so much more confidence on where I need to move on the neck. And just essentially lock in with Greg, you know? Like, there was no click there. We were just, you know, monitoring ourselves, and it sounded great.
So as a musician and also as a producer, what do you, what's your honest opinion, like first impression of this?
It puts the artist in a comfortable space to either track or perform live, or whatever the situation may be. You can just clearly hear everything in headphones, or whatever level you want. So, you know.
I'm enjoying the experience myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Any thoughts from like a drummer's perspective about it?
A drummer's perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, you're in your own, you know, your own little world here. You can hear everything isolated more than you would hear it if you weren't, and it points out all the inconsistencies pretty. It's unavoidable. So like anything that's not tight, you're gonna know right away, which is also gonna make you way better. That's just a byproduct of it. I think it sounds really good too. Like
I think it's kind of
like the sound quality from the signals. We're using just standard XLR cables. We're not using the high data DMX cable. So this is just your run of the mill XLR cable.
Even from the back of the amp, we got the cab simulated line out, and that's going into the board. Which is then coming into here for the guitar tone. Yeah. Which, like, hearing the guitar right there, like I said, it's very up close, personal. It puts everything under a microscope, so...
Including these hiccups.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, exactly. A lot of hiccups today. I don't know what's going on.
They're not going away. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
But
it's been like an hour
it puts the playing under a microscope.
Oh, this is so being left in.
Yes, it puts the playing under a microscope, for sure.
It's nice to hear where all the mistakes are and where the mistakes are not.
Yeah.
And it helps with playing for sure.
All right, guys. Behringer P24 mixer and hub routed through a stage box. Thank you, as always, to my like-minded creators, tag team partners here, Zaki Ali and Greg Talfayan. Thank you guys for testing out new gear. All right, so as we're cleaning up, we took out the DC power cable and very quickly realized that, much to my surprise, these things are powered with just an XLR cable. That's pretty amazing. These are not high-powered DMX cables. It's just a regular old XLR cable, and it still powers the mixers. Really, really cool accident to find, because one of the things I was going to knock this on was these power strips right here and thinking we would have to like power the mixers on stage or in a location. But no, the XLR powers the unit itself. Really nice surprise to have, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.